right, good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody here. So there was this guy, he had an appointment, meeting that he had to go to off-site. So he shows up at this building and he checks in at the lobby, and the receptionist directs him to a set of double doors, and the meeting space is on the other side of these double doors. So he walks up to the doors and he stands there and he's waiting for motion detection to open the doors. And after about 10 or 12 seconds, decides to start flapping his arms so that maybe can activate the motion detection. Doesn't open, so the receptionist is watching this and says, "Sir, try the door handle. It's 100% compatible with your hand." So I've been coming to this for 5 years. It's the fifth summit. I'm grateful to be invited back to open this up. Thanks to Paul and Fran and Christian for always inviting me back. And but over the 5 years, I've noticed that there's kind of a common theme that comes up from time to time, and it's a lack of mechanical skills, right? And so we really can't. We have to stay grounded. We have to stay grounded in basic, fundamental human skills. And so I've got a topic that I'm going to do, a safety moment that I'm going to do. I actually did this 5 years ago, and I figured it's the 5th year anniversary, and it'd be a good time to dust it off and do the same one again. I thought about that before I sent it to Fran, and I thought, well, half the people probably weren't here 5 years ago, so I could do it. The other half that might have been there probably don't remember a word that I said, so I'm probably in good shape. So I'm going to get started. I think okay. So there's a safety pause. So let's talk a little bit about apps, right? So I'm not a technical guy. I struggle through technology, but everybody's got one of these, right? Yeah. And you probably got a bunch of apps loaded on. And so I knew I was going to talk about this, so I counted mine this morning. I got 99 apps on my phone. Some of those come already loaded up, right? But then I added a bunch of them. And not being a technical person, I have 99, so I know there's a lot of people in this room that have a lot more than 99 apps on their phone, probably. So help me out here. Do y'all recognize that app? What is that? Yep. That one? Twitter? Yep. What about that one? TikTok. Y'all are a cool crowd. Yeah. So there's an app for that, right? There's always an app for that. And so we have apps that will wake us up, right? A lot of people have an alarm app on their phone. I used it this morning, by the way. And there's also nutrition apps. Some people have apps loaded up on their phone that help them manage their diet and their nutrition. And you also have apps that track your exercise, right? Some people have it, sorry about that. Some people have it on their watch, right? But the problem with that is the alarm app, it can't make you get up. And the nutrition app, it can't make you all of a sudden start eating right. And the exercise or health app, it can't make you put your shoes on and go outside. And so even though we have all these apps that are supposed to make our life better, right, the apps don't make our life better. It's application that makes our life better, right? It's application. And so if you take that to our workplace, whatever your business is, you take it to your workplace. Well, we have apps at work too, right? You might not call them apps, but I listed some that are relative to my business, right? There's policies, there's procedures, there's audit process, there's training, and they're probably similar to your place of business. And so if you went to our plant, anyone inside our gate, and you asked them if we had procedures, 100% of them would tell you yes. And I would say that everybody in this crowd, regardless of what your business is, you know you have procedures, or at least you know you have policies, right? Everybody does. But does that mean that they're followed 100% of the time, 100% correctly, right? And so it's not good enough to know that we have them. And so our biggest gap, one of our biggest gaps really as humans is the gap between knowing and doing, right? So it's not good enough just to know. It's not good enough to know that we have procedures at our plant. We have to apply what we know. We have to apply what we know. And so I looked at some data. Does anybody know what that number is? Does anybody know what that number represents? No. That represents the number of non-fatal injuries in the United States for private industry for 1 year. You could probably figure that number out. Does anybody know what that is? Fatal injuries. That's the number of fatal injuries. That's supposed to be up there by fatal injuries. That is the number of fatal injuries in the United States. Actually, it's 2023 because that's the latest data that I could find. And so 5,283 people didn't go home from work. And so these are the reasons: fall protection, scaffolding, PPE, lockout, tagout. It's all the things that we ask people to do when they come to, at least to my place of business, is the reason why 5,000 people aren't going home. So a couple of things about this slide that I think are interesting or disturbing is that trend goes back at least 20 years, right? There's no, I don't know if that's something I did. So 5,283, if you trend that back for 20 years, it's just about the same. It's almost a baseline of 5,000 people. And even though we have these policies, even though we have these procedures, even though we have all of these things that we do, conferences like this to talk about it, still 5,000 people are not going home. And so there is a skills gap. There is a skills gap. There's a knowledge gap, or there's an experience gap, or there's an application gap. It's real. And so I really appreciate Voovio having conferences like this. And so I've said this before, the right people are in the room. You got the right industry people, you got the right education people, you got the right vendor people in the room to talk about these issues and try to address these issues and try to come up with solutions. And so, so I'm glad you're here. I hope you get a lot out of the conference, but I also hope you apply yourself while you're here, right? Because that's what matters. Just showing up and being here, just being in the room doesn't make a difference, right? You have to apply yourself while you're in the room. That's why you're invited, by the way. And so there was this factory, and they had a engine that broke, and they called in the mechanics. It actually shut down all production at the plant, and so they called in all their mechanics, all the internal mechanics. They come in and they couldn't figure it out. So they decided. The owner decided to call in a retired master mechanic. This master mechanic, he shows up. He's got this little bitty tool bag, and he comes in, walks over to the machine, and he listens to it for a little bit, puts his finger on the pipes and identifies one spot. He opens up his little bag and he gets out this real small hammer and he goes, ding, right on this one spot. The engine comes back, production gets restored, and they're rolling. And so the owner gets a bill for $10,001, and he's livid. So he asks the mechanic, he said, I need an itemized statement. So he gives him an itemized statement, and it says, tapping with a hammer, $1. Knowing where to tap, 10 grand. And so application matters, right? Experience matters. Basic, fundamental human skills matters. And so thank y'all for listening to me. Thank y'all for being here. And I close with saying there's a reason why you're here, and it's so that you engage and you try to have some meaningful conversations about navigating this cycle, about managing the skills gap that we have, the experience gap we got. So thank y'all very much, and I hope you have a good conference.